at least in the teams I bid on, people go into the game with that skepticism and like they'll immediately blame that hero.
One death and they already gave up on you.
Oh, my lane sucks because I have this support. I'm like, no, you're just out of position, out of position here or whatever. It's like that has nothing to do with whatever that hero is. But it's a funny thing in a team atmosphere because everyone has their own interpretation of the game,
For sure.
and most of the time it comes down to the captain. But when it comes down to these new meta heroes that one player says, yeah, I've been tried in pubs, it owns, and then if they don't get behind it, doesn't matter.
Yeah, and maybe that's why you need to be a very strong leader in order to get some unique supports. The first person that comes to my mind is Puppy, right? Puppy gets to play like Doom.
Yeah, he does.
As a support.
Panda, he played Tide. Yeah, just...
He's probably like, I'm playing this, and you guys are going to deal with it.
And they're like, yes, sir.
Have him staring at you. You ain't disagreeing with that.
Well, it looks like we are getting the coin flip, so our match should be underway pretty quickly. Fnatic did win, and they managed to get Radiant. Adroit chose second pick, so they're looking for that big last pick overall. Everybody knows Fnatic. Who have been the players that really stood out to you for Adroit?
Adroit, at least in the first series, it was probably Natsumi. I thought he just played well. Kind of just straight up carried the games for him, the ones they needed to. And I don't know, they play more as a team, definitely, in Fnatic, because I think you're the one who always talks about Fnatic plays with their 3 separate cores, right? Meanwhile, Adroit, they kind of do a 3 and 2, where 2 cores are fighting, but they always have their 3 other people fighting. And I think these 2 teams actually match up very differently in that regard. And that's why I think Natsumi is the guy to look for me.
Yeah, when I was watching Boom, like I thought it was just all about the Makoto show. Like their entire strategy was around one guy. I didn't really get that impression from Adroit. I'm going to answer that with a odd answer of I don't really have a player I'm like looking out for. I think it's just a very well balanced team that they kind of just everyone does their own part. Not every team has to have that all-star.
You don't think?
I don't
think
so.
win a tournament,
I think you have
you
to
don't
have
think?
somebody you're like confident in to carry you, but I don't think you have to have a player you just build around every single game. I don't think you have to.
When's the last time you think a team won a LAN without like a superstar player? Do you think has there been one? Honestly, like obviously the Summit.
Who is
like,
it for Fnatic?
It's a little. I mean, they're all
DJ.
I'm saying like they're all like good, but none of them are like the highlight of the roster. I think in terms of the way they draft. I'm not talking about like the players being good or not. I'm talking about the fact that when Miracle's on Liquid or on Nigma, every draft is centered around enabling his hero to work, and that's what I mean by.
Okay, I agree with that.
And for Adroit, I don't get that impression so far from what I've seen about any of their players. I don't think their strategies revolve around one player. They kind of just pick what's good for the game, and like you said, they fight as 3 and 2, and it kind of seemed like it rotated. So,
for me, it's the one player whose name might actually stand out if you've been watching Southeast Asia for a while, Bocarino. Yes. I think he's performed really well so far. I think his impact. He's an aggressive player who doesn't just play that farming style, which I think is interesting when we see like Adroit versus Geek Fam. Like the very harsh difference between Cuckoo and Bocarino and like their playstyle differences. It's like the exact opposite, right? Bocarino goes around and tries to make plays.
Not greedy.
Cuckoo, he wants to be a little bit more greedy. He wants to have a higher net worth for an offlane.
And it's not like either one's wrong, right? It's always about like what works for your team, and that's kind of the difference between Fnatic and Adroit. It does feel like it's more team-based versus individual-based, just in gameplay-wise.
When you just talked about like the style of offlaners, that's been one of my main struggles moving to the offlane. Is for me, I want to be greedy, but I also like to participate. And I've noticed that the only heroes I can do that are ones with wave clear. Like if you don't have wave clear, you can never farm and be a part of the team. Yeah. So I'm like, is this what it means to have a playstyle as an offlaner? I'm like, is this what we've always been talking about? Because it's one thing to see it, you know, they play these types of heroes, whatever. But then when you're trying to learn the role, you're like, wait a minute, I'm trying to play this role, and I just can't do it on these 4 or 5 heroes. And I think with Blitz being here, it comes to mind Boxy, you know. He's playing a hero that's going to run at you. He's going to fight. He's nonstop kill. And they just don't play heroes that don't do that. Yeah. And it's very fascinating. I think that distinguishment comes out the highest in offlaners. So
it definitely, I can see especially the wave issue. It's like if you don't have that wave clear and your tier 2's being hit and stuff, you almost have to turn off your brain and be like, that's not my problem.
Yeah, it's not me.
I'm not going to go touch it. I'm not going to go touch it.
Look the other way.
Somebody else should be doing it right now.
God, it kills me.
I need to run around and kill things.
It kills me, dude. It kills me.
Yeah, I mean, you've talked about your playstyle and how you've wanted to be more aggressive and stuff, but it seems like your safe lane roots are you're still going to be a greedy offlaner, it sounds like.
Well, I like to be offlaners that farm for maybe 10, 15 minutes and then just kind of play around their team.
It's like what kind of heroes?
Like Underlord comes to mind, something like that, where I'm giving an example of he farms for a mech plus pipe or whatever, and then the rest of the game he just enables his team in whatever way they need him to do that. Sometimes it is farming, but usually it's playing it around the team and allowing them to siege and protect them while they're farming or whatever they're doing.
Speaking of that, you were the guy. Didn't you say you thought we'd see a little more Underlord? It was like Bounty Hunter and Underlord. Why do you think we're not after watching like 3 days?
I think there's a few offlaners I'm surprised about. I wasn't confident. I guess I lost too much faith in Batrider. I didn't think the hero got like way worse. I just thought the Boots of Travel nerf was pretty significant for him, and he's been highly sought after.
His toolkit just seems
too
good. I guess
he's just highly sought after in every region. He's like a first round potential early pick in every single region, and I think Underlord. Every hero in Dota becomes significantly worse if a hero they're bad against is really good, and Underlord just is terrible against Batrider. Like in the laning phase.
You just lose. Straight up. You just lose. Yeah.
And like if you're not even laning against him, at some point he'll come to you and you're just like, 2 stickies. I guess I'm leaving. I guess I'm leaving this lane now. But yeah, looks like we are into the draft.
That's right. We had a couple failed loads, but we're finally here with Fnatic versus Adroit. Game 1's draft is underway. What are some of the heroes we're expecting to see in this first ban? I feel like it's actually something we got to focus on now because there's 4 bans. You can't just like bullshit your way through it.
A lot of the prophets here. The Death Prophet, the Nature's Prophet, the Bounty Hunter. That's all about the profit.
Damn, Adroit.
Jabs
apparently. I was actually joking about that. I hadn't even looked.
He's not going to be able to get a chance.
Damn it.
To convince his teammates that he can play the 5 Bounty Hunter again.
That was actually too good. I was totally joking.
I wonder if Jabs are just like, yep, see, they're banning it. They saw how good it was. Unlike you haters, his team's like, shut up,
If you guys are wondering whose fault it was for that game, too, based on that ban, wasn't me.
Yeah. But honestly, I'm curious because SCA's been the only region banning Omni Knight, and it's always been first phased, and I still don't know why.
They're not banning it here so far.
Yeah. There goes the Death Prophet.
Lone Druid as well.
I think you have to ban Nature's Prophet versus Fnatic, especially when they have first pick. I am very scared of that hero. Obviously, Phoenix, that was the big hero yesterday. That was like the hero we just kept talking about because it was either first phase banned or literally first picked every single game.
Okay, I'm going to ask a weird question at the start of this draft, something I think about a lot. Name 1 or 2 heroes that the average player, in your opinion, oversimplifies, meaning they think it's a relatively easy hero to play, but the skill cap of it's like insanely high.
I mean, one of my answers is like meme-ish, but it's true. Techies. Like straight up.
Sure.
I think that is one of the most complicated heroes, but you know,
like min-maxing on that hero is pretty nutty.
You have the meme, right? It's like this guy's just playing games like bomb go boom or something. Yeah. You know, it's like it's. But if we're talking like actual heroes in Dota, I don't know. It's a good question.
I have like a across the board save heroes. So anybody who defensive supports or offlaners who just like cast save spells, so heals and stuff like that. I think people just think like all you do is just sit in a position and just cast it over and over again. But positioning is really important on those heroes, and that is the complicated part that people underrate.
Nature's Prophet for me was the one that came to mind just because you mentioned it. I think he's one of the like if you don't the offlaners are either all-star Nature's Prophet players, like iconic mind control level Nature's Prophet players, or you just never see them pick it at all. And we've been seeing it terribly at a lot this tournament.
First overall,
limited success.
Wow.
I was going to highlight that too, but you already stole my thunder there. The first overall, like what? Like, dude, we've seen it picked into Phoenix. That was questionable.
Yeah.
I think Phoenix owns this hero. It's all game. It's bad. It crushes your illusions. In the laning stage, you're all about right-clicking for CS, and you have high armor, but
no HP.
Yeah, no HP. So people have been going that Ring of Tarrasque build, but it doesn't make you CS any better against the Phoenix. So bit odd how much Phoenix we've been seeing, and you can pretty much know from Fnatic's perspective that they're going to pick this Phoenix. Yeah. Like, the minute you pick Terrorblade with Phoenix in the pool, they're going to pick it. Yeah. So they clearly had some idea of what they're doing with it. I think Oracle is a very likely second pick for Fnatic, by the way. Goes well with Terrorblade, and I can't really imagine any other hero that enables Terrorblade to not just get dunked on by Phoenix in the early game.
Yeah. I will say I was a big fan of casting that game and having Mars against the TB.
Yeah.
And I like Mars Phoenix, so I would love to see that combo again. But the Shadow Demon.
There you go, one of the saves you talked about. The aggressive one. I have a feeling that's going to probably be a support. We've only been really seeing Leo styles that, but, maybe people are watching. Maybe Shadow Demon versus TB is a good core matchup or something. I'm not sure, but
I don't think Shadow Demon's a core. I never really thought he was.
Yeah.
He's like a super powerful laner. It's deceiving because you say like mid laners have to be strong in the laning stage, but he wins almost every matchup. That hero is insanely powerful, but there's just this weird point in the game. He doesn't scale like a standard mid laner. He never gets more survivable. He never gets more mobile. Like, he buys his blink, but it's like, compare ganking an Ember at 25 minutes in the game to ganking a Shadow Demon. Like, it just doesn't sound the same. Doesn't sound right.
The last time we saw Leo style got hard dumpstered. Oh, that's a good counter to the Terrorblade.
Yeah. Not a bad hero versus the Nyx in terms of just goes in without fear of like getting stunned before his ultimate goes off.
It has a couple of saves for the Phoenix. When you pop Primal Split, right, you've got both Tornado and the Rock to throw. It's not one of those big AoE disables that you like to see, but it's a small
I'd like to see one other thing. I'd like to see one other deterrent. Maybe a BKB piercing one. That could easily just be an Abyssal builder, meaning, third item, PL Abyssal or whatever. It could be something like that. PL is banned. They clearly planned to pick Terrorblade with their bans in the first round because PL is not a hero we've usually seen banned in the first round.
Yeah.
But nowadays, your first round does have to kind of protect your first round picks. Like we talked about how you used to protect your first round picks with that second round of bans. You just don't have that anymore.
Now, Adroit did manage to take down Geek Fam, and the way they did it was off the back of some cheesy last picks. And Adroit did choose second pick here. Are you guys worried about Meepo's, Alchemist's, any of those cheese picks that you're worried about right now with the TB showing?
Alchemist is really bad versus Terrorblade, so I don't think they'll pick that. Alchemist is really good against Naga because he clears the illusions and plays the same way, but then ends up outscaling her. But Terrorblade actually just kills Alch.
Yeah, you just
you get 2 or 3 items and you just go
die.
Poop, poop, poop. He just dies. So I'm not a huge fan of that, but I mean, there's still plenty of heroes that are fine against Terrorblade. I would say Terrorblade's not generally countered by the carry role. So I think you're kind of like, okay, we've taken care of this Terrorblade. We have the Brewmaster Purge, the AoE Dispel from his ult that just kills the illusions instantly. We have Shadow Demon to disrupt him. We have Phoenix to make him do less damage. I think if I'm picking a core, I'm just looking at the 2 supports and saying, I don't want to be threatened by these supports. I just want to pick a hero that I enjoy. I wouldn't pick Troll Warlord, for instance, because it gets disarmed by Oracle and controlled and kited by the Nyx. I would pick something like a Jug or a Slark type hero that, I get to wail on the person that's Oracle ultied, or I get to purge off the Nyx Assassin's disables.
Adroit also think that Terrorblade's a good counter to Troll. They actually counterpick Geek Fam with it at WePlay.
Yeah, and this is... Well, I think this might fit our description of a BKB piercing egg protector.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Definitely. I would say, just a little bit. The fact, you could get 5 heroes and they all could have BKBs. But so how I know you said the phase or you don't counter TB from the carry matchup. So
yeah.
But how is Void versus TB?
I think it's okay. I think both heroes are fine to play against the other. That's what I mean. Is you don't really care in terms of your carry pick. Terrorblade's not all that great versus most carries, and he's not all that bad versus most of them. That's my opinion, at least. Your scaling as a carry against Terrorblade is whether or not you can wail on him, and that's usually based on his allies, not based on him as a hero.
Yesterday we talked about the playstyles of this duo, DJ and Ice Ice Ice. If DJ's on a for position that initiates and doesn't really scale that well, you're going to see Ice pick up a lot greedier of a 3 position, but they could just as easily swap that in other games. Not terribly surprising that they pick up Timbersaw.
I thought Brew was good versus Timber. I thought a lot. I thought even Puppy talked about it like a couple of years ago. That
Why
it's
is
like
Brew good versus Timber?
You just toss him. You
what?
literally just toss him, and he's gone for the whole team fight. It dispels all when he's in the air. The timing means you lose every single stack of your armor charge.
I'm seeing Timbersaw as an enabler this game. I think Timbersaw, from my experience and what I learned when I was watching replays, is he just falls off like a rock. Like, for the most part, past 15 minutes, you don't really care what Timbersaw does for your team. He's done his job already. Yeah. He's going to buy items, and that's his input. That's his impact for your team. You know, if he has a pipe, Greaves, whatever, but halberd. But he's meant to enable his team in the first 15 minutes, draw a lot of attention to himself, push early objectives, make it so heroes like Terrorblade have the space on the map that they need. In order
so a lot of that is about the lanes, right?
Yeah, I'm saying that
you need to know your side lane matchups. They knew it.
It's good in lane versus Brew and Void. Oh. So I don't think they even care that it's bad versus Brew. I'm not saying it's correct to think that way, but in this specific game, I agree with you. In the mid game, it's not ideal versus Brew, but they don't care. Like, they just needed. They were like, okay, our Terrorblade's going to get pressured. He's not going to be able to take towers. We need somebody who can. Even though Timbersaw is not what you'd think of as a pusher, he does force early tier 1s at the 5 and 10 minute
forces
catapults.
Rotations, or you lose a tower.
Yeah, the catapult usually kills it for him.
They do ban the meatbow, so that was we were talking a little bit about cheese. They even first phased the lone druid, the Natsumi played the other day, so I doubt I would ever see a Meepo Void core duo, but you know.
You need a rotating hero on Fnatic, because you have these setup heroes in the Timbersaw, like he's shoving down the lane, and you have the scouting hero on the Nyx. You need something to follow it up, like a Storm, or I mean, even Ember would work. You just need something that you're not. It's going to be the hero they think best deals with getting counterpicked in lane, but it just needs to capitalize on the lane shoving of Timber and the scouting of Nyx, because right now Terrorblade's going to consume all the farm. Timbersaw's a pretty heavy farmer too, even though he is like shoving lanes and making space while doing so. Like, it just needs to be an active hero. I don't care what it is. They can choose that for themselves.
I know you don't always want to focus on like, oh, we need someone to kill the egg, but you have a Nyx Oracle Timbersaw versus this first phase Phoenix.
Jurgen's Void.
What about Lina?
They're getting the egg off now. Lina's trash.
That's a bad hero.
Good versus Phoenix in theory, but you're like a Yule's buyer versus Shadow Demon. I don't think.
So you can't. Yeah, no Yule's. Yeah, that's the thing. Shadow Demon just discourages, so they do go to Storm. Yeah.
Storm. I'm 2 for 5 so far on Fnatic's picks.
Nice.
But so yeah, as you're talking about though, Nyx Assassin and Storm Spear together just feels so right. Like, you just get in there, invis, and you do have the burst damage with those two heroes. Like, those two can just make all the plays while the other three kind of do what they want. I agree with that.
Yeah, Puck's already banned, so that makes the Storm go up in value for sure. Pretty sticky. I love how it used to be Storm was really good versus Puck, and now it's kind of the opposite, just because the Quill owns you. I don't know. TA?
What about...
Nah, I guess TA is bad versus Terrorblade. You're not going to go like OD because you're against Nyx.
I was thinking just Ember versus the Storm, and then you do something like the Deso build we've seen versus the TB.
I was thinking Ember, but it sounds so hard against Nyx Oracle. You don't have a real way of killing this Timbersaw yet.
Do you need burst then, do you think?
I don't think you need burst. You need like some mid to late game way of dealing with this hero. Like, it's so hard to imagine without the hero list in front of you.
Something to pump some damage into that Chronosphere. Some of the heroes.
Is it just Invoker? I'm down for Invoker. Invoker's really good here, actually.
Oh, SF? Okay. It's good damage, and right out of the Chrono, decent laner as well.
It does threaten the Timbersaw. So we saw SF versus Timbersaw yesterday, and it didn't do too hot. He is a natural Silver Edge buyer. It used to be that Silver Edge was trash versus Timber because it only stops new stacks from being formed, but now you reduce healing and regen by 50%, so now it is quite good. I like both drafts, honestly. I'm going to go with the teamfight lineup, though, and I just still healthily skeptical about a first overall pick terribly.
I remember this is very similar to the South American series yesterday, where it felt it was all team fight versus this kind of standard draft from Fnatic, and the standard draft kind of just ended up winning. I also think Fnatic, I really don't see like Jabs coming after that 1-2 loss being like, we'll just get the next game. I think they're going to be insanely focused. I actually think Fnatic might just run over this game by the 20 to 25 minute mark.
I could see them absolutely bulldozing this game.
Yeah, I think, I'm looking at a 25-minute game for Fnatic for me.
Okay. Sounds like you two are both locked in, and, it's about what? 3:30 here in California in the morning.
Yes.
We're here in the Beyond the Summit studios. We're covering Southeast Asia Dota.
Yeah.
I feel like we're going back to 2014 because we're going to be going over to our casters. It's going to be Gods and Blitz, late night Dota, Southeast Asia.
Thanks, Cap. Nothing like some late night Dota to get things started. Our first of 3 best of 3s. We've got Fnatic taking on Adroit. Should be a good one. It doesn't feel like there's any favorite in this SEA region. And even in this series, we see Fnatic slightly favored, but not heavily favored.
I mean, 1.58 is actually pretty good. If you think... So if, as a gambler myself, if you thought before everything had played out or whatever, and you thought like Fnatic was more than like a 2-1 favorite, you take that pretty easily. And do I think Fnatic is a 2-1 favorite? I don't know. They haven't been... Fnatic is the most up and down team I think I've ever seen. Like, their peak is like, oof. But their low is like, oh, yikes.
Yeah, every now and then you see them at LAN events where they are taking games off, Team Secret. We saw them take games off Nigma at Dream League. So definitely a team that can beat anyone, but also, as we saw at the start of this group stage, lose to anyone. They lost the best of 3 against Boom ID, who, not to say is a weak team or anything. SEA is very competitive, but you'd expect Fnatic to beat them.
Oh, for sure. Like, for example, on Liquid, we regard them quite highly. But it doesn't matter if you regard somebody highly if the results are not backing things up. That's kind of how Dota works, right? Like, your team can, on paper, look really good. All the things seem to be going right. And 1 or 2 matchups later, like, you lose 2 games and you're out.
Well, we'll see how Fnatic do. They need to start putting together some wins here as the bottom team of the 4-team groups is eliminated. All about making sure you get to the playoffs. If you can get first, you do find yourselves instantly in the grand finals, but it's going to be Fnatic playing over on the Radiant side to start things off. A Moon Storm Spirit. Will got asked, is this a good Storm game?
Is this a good Storm game? Okay, so Storm usually hates 2 things. He hates death balls. So if you 5-man, nowadays he lacks damage because you don't go Orchid anymore. A lot of the items in Dota are just good versus Orchid now. You have Force Staff, which just lets you reset. You have Glimmer Cape, which is like the... Oh, I hate that item so much. And so Storm against like those kinds of lineups struggles really hard. And Mass Instant Disable. Like, those are the 2 things that I hate playing against when I'm Storm. So if I look at it, I will say it's okay. Depends on what build the SF goes. If the SF decides to go for the Yule's build, I could see it being pretty annoying. And I could see him deciding to go for the Yule's build. I really hate the right-click build versus TV.
Yeah, because you're... Okay, so against you're just not going to be able to kill him with the right clicks. You want to have that magic damage against TV.
Yeah, plus when he reflects, like, he gives you your own illusion, which hits quite hard, and it comes with, like, all the minus armor auras and stuff like that. So if you lean too heavily in that direction, it's kind of meh.
Okay.
But against Phoenix, I'd say he's okay. It works both ways because you have a way of getting on top of the Phoenix first. But if he gets Egg off, it really sucks having to just, like, sit still and hit Egg.
Yeah, they've got the TB with Metamorph, but they don't have great Egg hitters this game necessarily.
Yeah.
And if TB gets hit by a Fire Spirit, if he doesn't have BKB or Manta to get rid of it, they're going to struggle to kill that Supernova.
I'd say he's pretty good against Brew. He's pretty nice against Shadow Demon, and he's, I'd say, above average against Faceless Void is one of the better heroes that he's against.
Big creep wave down bottom, putting 23 Savage under a lot of pressure. He's out of regen here. Jabs has a salve, though, for him. Oh. And they're going to actually get a kill with help with the tower. Boomy!
Did he have a salve?
Oh, boy.
What? He just
has a headdress. So.
He just straight up died.
Yeah, he tanked a few too many tower shots. And speaking of which, the Brewmaster does the same. He tanks like 2 tower shots and just dies. They tried to pressure. I mean, there was a huge creep wave under his tower, so they wanted to pressure 23 Savage, but they did not control the tower aggro.
I don't know if pressuring the tower works in that way if you just get hit by the tower like 6 times.
Yeah.
It sort of defeats the purpose. That was some of the weirdest 2 kills that I've seen. They just kind of died. If somebody asked me to recap what just happened, I would just tell you they sort of just died. Like, nothing really happened.
Yep.
But okay, that's a really good start for TV.
Yeah, the lane was kind of being lost in a sense there. Oof, Moon getting very low to the triple raises, has a salve and a fairy fire. Is not going to go down there. Mac is bullying him a lot with the harass, but Moon is getting his CS, and we're seeing Mac have to ferry out a lot of mana regen to keep this pressure up. He's already got another couple of mangoes on the courier, so there is a price to all this raise spam that he's using.
There's zero chance he's like even close to net worth right now. Like, this is the one thing about when you play Shadow Fiend versus Storm, the tendency, of course, is like you want to continue to just like keep pressuring, laying out raises as often as you can, but you're spending so much gold on items that you just will never see. You'll never see like any usage out of. So like, instead of having any sort of stats, he just has even more mangoes, and then he's going to use all of those mangoes, and suddenly his net worth's going to collapse even further. Like, net worth wise, he's behind the Brewmaster who just died.
Yeah, he's bottom 4 net worth on SF.
Yeah, it's really deceptive. Everyone always looks at the CS, but for the mid matchup, what you want to focus on more is the net worth.
And even on top of that, you look at who's bullying who. It's the SF who's constantly threatening to kill this Storm, but without getting those kills, the mangoes are nowhere near as cost effective as they used to be. They only give 110 mana.
Yeah.
It feels like this way of playing mid is not really maybe the ideal way these days anymore.
I think he leaned too hard in this direction. Like, I can see the first 3 mangoes that you use. That makes sense for me. And then after that, you're just... Like, there have been plenty of lane matchups. I started noticing it more recently when I feel like I was losing a Storm versus SF.
Yep.
I'd be like, damn, he's like hitting neutral creeps and stuff, and he's like a full level ahead of me. And then I watch I look at the chart after the game, you know, for individual player net worth, and I'd be up like 2K. I was like, what's going on?
Well, now Storm's hit level 5 with an Arcane Rune.
If he gets lucky on the uphill.
He has a Remnant hit, gets the hit, and Moon will get a solo kill in the mid lane. The Phoenix TP coming in a little bit too late.
Oh, this game's going to be... This is not supposed to be a losing lane, by the way, for Shadow Fiend. All the stuff that I said is, like, true, but you should still have a level advantage at the very least.
Yeah.
And then you can jungle and stat up to, like, 1.2k with the wand, and you can't die as Shadow Fiend. It's really hard, and Storm wants the pressure in lane.
Not the ideal start. DJ rotating on this mid lane with the Storm hitting level 6 now. They're looking to kill Mac instantly as he comes back. They just jump on in, hit the Impale here. Moon, he's committing to this one, knowing that Mac, if he dies, he does not have a TP to come back to lane. Mac, though, he kills the Nyx Assassin, and Moon, he may have overcommitted. One more right click, is it going to be enough? The bottle charge is healing up Mac, he stays alive. One more right click, it's just enough, but Moon may pay for this with his life. Has a Fairy Fire and a Stick Charge. Boomy, no spells for a good 6 seconds here. It looks like Moon is going to get himself back to safety. Considers a neutral deny, it looks like. But Boomy still looking to land a Fire Spirit. Can he do so? Misses the first. Not going to go fishing with the second in the right place.
Oh, and he might actually get spotted, and he's got to be careful here. Yeah. Does have dive in a few seconds, and he's just laying him out. Funny enough, hits the Nyx.
Who gets a little cheeky carapace stun on Moon. With the bottle refill from DJ's TP, is able to stay in this lane.
There's a regen top, I'd leave the game.
Oh, Invis Rune. Oh, luckily there was a destruction. Moon unable to refill his bottle.
I would straight up leave the game, David.
If you were the SF.
Yeah, I'd be so mad.
Yeah.
Because some of those things are just out of your control, and you're just like, damn. Or DD, because a DD means you're dying, 100%.
Yes. Can he get this kill?
I think it's hard.
Yeah.
He's got stick charges.
Not going to go for it. Back at bottom lane, TB is being free farming 3k net worth with this Ring of Taras, double Wraith Band build, and now the tier 1 tower is being pressured with Metamorph. Both supports here to back up 23 Savage.
I'd say if you can't beat Fnatic in the lane, most of the time you're going to lose. They rely really heavily on having at least 2 out of 3 lanes go very well. I was talking to Grant, I think, about it. I personally think that Fnatic drafts kind of greedy for their 3 cores. Like, Ice always plays an independent hero. He doesn't rotate to you, you rotate to him. And so if he has a bad laning phase, there's not a whole lot of recovery from him. But if he has a good laning phase like this, like, he doesn't care. He's just going to snowball a game.
Yeah. He's definitely very rarely plays that kind of sacrificial style off lane. Always wants to have a good game, and well, all 3 lanes going pretty damn well right now as bottom tier 1 tower goes down. Ice has gotten more than enough out of top. He's level 6, isn't farming as well as the Void, but is able to play in this lane pretty much by himself right now.
Yeah, I mean, the expectation isn't for him to farm as well as the Void, right?
SF getting jumped. Moon unable to get the kill with the disruption save, and
he might die here.
Yep. There are one charges. He's going to pop them, but I don't see him getting out of this one. He goes down to the Sunray. So a nice counter kill going the way of Adroit. They needed that.
Oh boy, did they. And you're sacrificing your bottom lane as a result of this, though. Like, I don't think Moon cares too much about that death, if I'm honest. Like, he forced 3 heroes over. When you make that move and you don't get the kill on Storm, it feels like you died anyways, because you're out of mana and you have to go back to base and then TP out. So, no net change.
Yep. I mean, I guess for Adroit, are they looking at trying to force some team fights with their ultis, like Brewmaster level 6, Void level 6, Chrono? Like, they have a pretty potent team fight.
Yeah. The problem is I don't know where to gank. So what should happen now is somebody should take over bottom lane. The Oracle can sit behind mid, and TB just farms his own jungle until Timber takes top. You would have to smoke to make something happen. But smoking at this point in the game feels kind of awkward because your initiation feels kind of mediocre. And can they burst them? Yep. So as a result, you get Moon just being able to go wherever he feels like. You would have to smoke to the Brewmaster, but you don't have a hero that plays very fast. Ooh. Oh, okay, that was kind of bad death.
Matt comes in to punish Ice overcommitting there. Didn't quite land the Chakram as he was hoping for in the Phoenix, who didn't have dive, but in the end it is, like you say, a bit of a bad, unnecessary death for sure for Ice.
Yeah, that one was...
He's doing Ice things. Playing in your face, Orb of Venom on the Timbersaw. He's looking to play as aggressive as possible. How would you say his Timbersaw compares to Boxy's? As the Liquid coach, are you...
I'm just saying, Boxy had his Timber banned in every single game for the past 2 line events. And the one time we got it, we won in like 15 minutes.
Okay.
So nobody gives us Timber.
There's a lot of respect on Boxy's Timber.
But Ice is a legend, man. I don't even... Ice for me is the Timber. Just, that's how I look at him.
It's going to take Boxy a while to become like the signature Timbersaw player, even just as a newer player. Like for any